Alright, what's going on, guys? This is just a little update on the 67.5 swap into my 99 3000 GT. And yeah, there's gonna be some mystery science to this shit because this 67.2 single overhead cam pump, not even close to fitting. So that's fucking junk. That motor's junk, whatever. So this needs to get out of here. And then if you look here on the table, shit. That's the single overhead cam pump. Now remember, these are cross flow, so the oil goes from point A to point B on it. This is the 6G75 oil pump, and you can actually see the area that's normally there and all sealed there is here. So, and then this is the 6G74 pump out of a Montero. While it does fit, there's still, this is going to need a blank off plate back here, and then there's going to need a hole to be here to match up to this O-ring on this block if I go with the 7.5 pump. It also doesn't help that the 7.5 pump is the opposite side on the housing for the oil pump pickup versus the 6G75. And then you can also see that it's also on the other side for the 7.2 single overhead cam, but we'll get to that later. So what I'm going to do is reinstall this oil pump. Again, everything's going to be completely torn down, cleaned, and put back together. This is all just finding all the pieces to the puzzle right now. So we're going to put it back on. We're going to take the oil filter housing off the front, and we're going to see if it's going to be easier just to make an adapter plate for that, because it also doesn't help that when you look at the radius in the front of this cast aluminum oil pump, how tight it is, which you can see when we flip this around, how tight that is right here for the 7.5, whereas the 7.4, not so much. It's got a big old kick out down here. And of course, all the bracketry is different. Everything's different. This whole fucking motor swap for brackets is different. I tried to bolt up the 7.2 dual overhead cam power steering pump bracketry. That's way the hell off. The alternator bracket for the 7.2 dual overhead cam's way the hell off. The 7.2 single overhead cam is not even close to fitting. And again, it's just a matter of, honestly, this is the biggest hurdle here because, I mean, obviously, when this is installed in the motor, this motor is facing this way because this is the front of the motor. You have to worry about the driver's side axle because it goes right here. So this is going to get put back in. This is going to get pulled off. I'm going to make a template, get some of the 1/2-inch 6061 plate that I have, cut it out, see if I can angle these pickup holes to opposite sides, like splay them around a little bit so I have room to weld in some fittings. You know, I'm trying to find, in Mitsubishi's infinite wisdom, I'm trying to find if I can do this with stock brackets, stock pulleys, stock everything, just to keep the cost down on swapping everything around, getting custom. Because I mean, I could literally go and make billet brackets for this entire motor, and that's fine. But I'm trying to do this for long term for other people that want to do the 6G75 swap, build big power. I mean, these things are an amazing block. You can see it's 4-bolt from the main, 4-bolt mains from factory. Like, unless you really want to, you know, dig in, I mean, the rods are the thinnest part on this thing, but great set of rods, great set of forged pistons, and there's no reason why this thing can't make 750, 800 crank all day on single overhead cam, because of a big help is the MIVEC. So again, this is just all experimenting, trying shit out, seeing what's up, seeing what I can do. I'm trying to keep, again, I'm trying to make this like a budget-friendly swap with a write-up that any Joe Blow could go and get this, and then if his alternator shits out, he can go get another one. Because if you don't know, for the 6G72s, oil pumps are impossible to get. Impossible. So I was looking into alternatives because I've got the 74 Montero pump here, and I really liked it because it bolts to the side like this. Hang on, I got so many freaking brackets, man. There she is. So with that Montero pump, because everybody wants them for the oil cooler fittings and shit, you know, you got your spin-on filter there. You know, you've got your oil filter thingy right there, pressure relief back there. I guess it's a pressure relief. Anyway, but yeah, but the Montero pump has provisions to be able to run an oil cooler stock, which is awesome. However, it is clear that that's not going to happen with this. But if I can't, and again, that's not going to matter because obviously the bolts don't line up between A and B. So if it's going to cause me to run a adapter plate with threaded fittings or welded in fittings, you know, that is what it is. And you know, I don't really care. They're going to have to come forward regardless, because again, this whole area, I mean, even up to here might be okay, but I'm not going to know till I can get the 5-speed transmission out of my car and bolt it to the back of this motor to figure out if that driver's side axle is going to be a problem. And to get to that point, I have to have all the bracketry done for the whole motor so I can drop it in and figure out, is this shit going to work? Is this shit not going to work? Am I going to try to use the single overhead cam pump, or power steering pump, which mounts up here, which that in itself, where's that fucking bracket? I swear to God, dude, I lose shit all the time. So, yeah. So this is the dual overhead cam power steering pump. It bolts in down there, but up there it's offset by like maybe 1/2 to 5/8 of an inch. It's not crazy, but I have to make a bracket to be able to bolt to the head and stud out this way, and then nuts to tighten that down. But I'm not sure if that's going to line up. This is the 6G72 single overhead cam bracket that I was kind of excited about because it's supposed to bolt up in here, and it doesn't bolt anywhere for shit. So the hunt continues. This is the single overhead cam bracket for the AC compressor and single overhead cam alternator, 75 water pump, more alternator shit for the single overhead cam motor. Yeah, the hunt continues. We keep pressing forward because we're gonna figure this shit out. We're gonna find what Frankenstein parts we need to be able to do this, because again, even with the water crossover, that's going to have to be modified because of, this is one out of a 6074, because those are straight across, and then in the back here, oh no, that's the 75 one, then the 74 ones are angled. So again, those are going to have to be modified, you know, to be able to run the coolant lines, because this is as the motor would be installed in the car here. So the coolant lines are going to have to go that way for it. And of course, this was a non-MIVEC motor, it'd already be in and running. But because the MIVEC solenoids are so freaking huge and they sit back here and up here, it completely throws everything off. Because with the front left cam bank, okay, with this being here like it is, you would normally have to, it's normally just a standard issue. You fucking stay there, you son of a bitch. It's normally just a single pulley, that's that, because it runs off of camshaft sensor that bolts in back here. But the problem is the 75 ones have like 47 teeth on them versus the 3-blade normal setup for most Mitsubishi single overhead cam products. So like this, how it's got recess the lip and the 4 screw holes. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to go into details on this, but I kind of rant sometimes, so if I rant and it kind of annoys you, I apologize. I'm just trying to get a lot of information out, and you know, I'm really frustrated that this isn't more of a plug-and-play swap. You know, again, Mitsubishi being Mitsubishi, you figured that at some point they would be like, man, hot rod, but no. Oh, there they are. That's underneath my Mitsubishi 6074 Montero bell housing. So that's how that's supposed to go. And then this is just supposed to bolt on here. Now again, if I got rid of the MIVEC and went to non-MIVEC heads, this would just bolt right on. I'd set my timing and vroom vroom, here we go. The problem is, again, with this being here, you can't do it. So you either come up with a solution to run off the back cam position sensor, which I beat my head into a wall for, and I couldn't figure that out. So I figured, well, we're going to take this, we're going to bolt this on. Right? Because it'll bolt right in place. This is out of a Diamante, so 6074 3.5 liter. And then what I'm going to do is, because that's there, okay, we're going to simply screw that down, because that's where the lineup is. Okay, we're going to screw that down. Now the problem is, when you flip this around, this ring is now 180 out. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut this, okay, flip my ring around, drill a bunch of holes in it, and then spot weld it in place backwards. Because again, this is supposed to be in like this, okay, supposed to be in, see how the blades are supposed to line up like that, but now we're 180 out from where it is, and I'm not sure if that's going to, if I put the cam sensor where it needs to be for this, I don't know if that'll work. It should. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but this is still a long ways away. But I was thinking about trying to get this, and if I can just build a bracket over here, be able to mount the camshaft sensor to it, so it'll be able to pick it up. But again, because now this is 180 out, you know, I'm just going to cut and weld, flip it around, weld it up, and then drop it to it. I mean, these blades have a whole bunch of different numbers depending on what it comes from, but the thing about it is, you can, all the stampings are the same. Okay, so just because it's a 0517 and the other one's a 3612 Bravo, this is a 078B. It's kind of hard to tell. 078B. Okay, but this one is a no name. Okay, so there's no number on this one, but as you can see, oh, excuse me, 539. It's a 539. But as you can see, they're literally identical. You put them, well, yeah, you put them in here together, and then everything lines up. Okay, so those line up perfectly. And again, it's not the same part number. The biggest thing that I found when hunting for parts for this swap, as long as this has 4 blades and the crank sprocket has 3 blades, it'll work. It'll work. Science nerd magic in the ECU, in the pickups and all that shit. But that's where we're at with this. So again, it's more hunting, more trying to find parts. That's my spare 75 MIVEC that I pulled out of a 07 GT, Eclipse GT. So very excited about that. And again, that's a good spare. Might be a good spare. I don't know. I haven't dropped the oil pan yet to cry if there's, you know, stripper glitter. But I do have a replacement solenoid. They're solenoids themselves, so if you damage one or find them damaged, they're the same on any of the MIVEC vehicles, which what I found here locally to me in Jacksonville, Florida, at my local Go Pull It, because I love Go Pull It because they're awesome, is the 4G68 I think is what it is. The 4-cylinder that comes in the Eclipse, same solenoid. And I think a few others run these MIVEC solenoids in them as well. But which would be the Galant, whatever the Fancy Boy 3.8 MIVEC motor is in the Galant has these. So you can get replacement solenoids for a couple bucks at the junkyard. So it's not a huge, oh my god, I have to go to the dealership and spend $80, $90 on a MIVEC solenoid. You don't. You really don't. But again, this whole thing is going to be, before it's all said and done, it's going to be torn down to a short block, which is a rotating assembly, no heads. Everything's going to be cleaned up. It's going to be studded. It's going to be, I may or might not do that. I really want to hear this thing run. It's been months and months and months, and still it's in pieces. But thankfully, right now the weather's beautiful. And I mean, honestly, I do these video documentaries more so for me, because, you know, my brain ain't what it used to be. But yeah, so I'm going to put this oil pump back on, bolt the oil pan back up, cry because none of this shit works, and yeah, that's my I bought 1/8 inch aluminum honeycomb, which is normally used for like composite repairs, because mine was damaged on the car that I got. It had a stick shoved through it, and so I replaced it, so it's as good as new, which is exciting, since I didn't want to have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a new MAFR, because that's technically not replaceable. But I had enough left over. I built a second one, which that honeycomb's easy to cut, because I work in an advanced composite shop, so all that shit's super chill to me. But yeah, that's where we're at. And then, yeah, so the hardest thing to figure out is going to be brackets. And then the next hardest thing after that will be figuring out the fuel rail situation, because these fuel rails don't bolt to that intake manifold because there's an angle to them. So I've got some spacers that I've made, and I'm going to shave them at an angle. Hopefully everything will go in. I'll have to take, and instead of running bolts in, I'll have to run studs. But then I'll heat the stud up and bend it to an angle. So when it's in, it'll thread in squirrely. But once it's threaded in, it'll be angled. And then at that angle, it'll be straight up, 90 degrees to the part. And then I'll just run a nut and a lock washer and a lock washer down. That way it'll hold down. Because I was thinking about, well, if I can chop and weld on the fuel rails themselves, put some angle in them. And I'm like, I really don't want to weld on fuel rails. And then I was like, well, I can cut and weld the ears on the manifold. And I'm like, there's got to be an easier way. So after brainstorming, I was like, if I take the little spacers that all Mitsubishi products have, those things, and swap them around, or shave them, and put a stud in there bent, that should work, in theory. So, yeah, I'm not really good with this video recording thing, so I apologize for, big ass 20-minute plus video, but there's a lot that goes into swapping one of these, obviously. I mean, if they were simple, everybody would do them, but I'm just trying to find the best way to put this motor turbo shit box in that car, and then that's a backup 99 over there, even though it's got a 97 to 98 front bumper on it. We're gonna talk about it. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I'm just trying to make the magic happen, and the beautiful little hood right there. But I appreciate you stopping by and checking it out. I'm trying to keep adding more content to it, keep progressing, keep moving forward, because this thing's been a fucking nightmare. But hope you enjoy, and I guess like, follow, subscribe if you do, and I'll try to keep bringing more videos at least weekly. Later.